I got a platform to speak. Some people hate it. Some people want to shut me up. I mean, I got mentioned as a finalist to be, vice president on a ticket, and they attacked me.
Well, let's hang on a second.
CNN is learning tonight that in private conversations, Rodgers has shared conspiracy theories, falsely claiming the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting was not real. Back in 2013, when CNN's Pamela Brown was covering the Kentucky Derby, she met Aaron Rodgers. And Brown says in conversations with him, Rodgers attacked the news media, claiming important stories were being covered up. He then brought up the Sandy Hook shooting and said the media was intentionally ignoring that the shooting was, he claimed, an inside job by the government.
After all that, I think about this is the guy who said we need to eliminate off-field distractions. Aaron Rodgers is the same human being who had those words exit his mouth. And now to be the first athlete in history to mount a vice presidential campaign is just one of those on-the-nose things that you would laugh at if you also didn't worry about what it says about, democracy and ourselves.
Now, when Brown asked for evidence, he shared conspiracy theories that had been disproven. Rodgers falsely claimed to Brown that there were men in black in the woods by the school and asked if she thought that was odd.
I mean, this is Alex Jones stuff.
CNN has also spoken to another source who would like to remain anonymous in order to avoid harassment. They had a similar encounter with Aaron Rodgers. This person said Rodgers claimed that, quote, Sandy Hook never happened.
Rodgers is ticked he got called out.
They're terrified. They're terrified of people that think for themselves, that aren't controlled. Mm-hmm. I'm not beholden to anybody. I have a contract that can get cut at any point. I have very few sponsors now. They're all people that I really believe in, that there's some sort of equity investment in it. But I'm not controlled. Nobody controls my messaging. Nobody controls my social media. Nobody can control me. I think for myself. I speak for myself. And that's dangerous to an establishment that wants more power, control, and obedience. And me personally, I'm not ceding any of those to people who don't have my best interests at heart.
Oh, really? Let's delve deeper.
It is the most loathsome conspiracy theory out there. And if he believes it, then he's a loathsome human being. We know from his former teammates who have told people that he would float 9/11 conspiracy theories too, that he believes December 11th was an inside job. So that might be the second worst conspiracy theory in American society.
And that's just a sample of Rodgers' scrambled brain.
Well, there were a lot of really, really courageous people.
Yeah.
Who lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, lost their businesses, got kicked off of social media. I mean, Bobby got kicked off social media. He's a hero. He stood up time and time again.
RFK Jr., the same man who has come out as a staunch anti-vaccine candidate. And
so right now, the way that I see it, and, things, I guess, will change over time because you do have to only pick one candidate at the end of the day. But the Kennedy voter and the Trump voter, the enemy, our mutual enemy is Biden. 270 wins the election. If you don't get to 270, if nobody gets to 270, then Congress picks the president, right? Right now, we have a majority of Republicans in Congress. So who are they going to pick? Who are they going to pick if it's a Republican Congress? They'll pick Trump. So we're rid of Biden either way.
Via his own staff, like Rita Palma, seen here, the now former member of his team in New York, they are intentionally playing spoiler.
Changes your whole perspective on everything. And Bobby, to his credit, wrote this expose on Fauci, who's been, he's the highest paid government official, been in government forever, for all these pandemics, and he's been in charge. Never held accountable. But everything that Bobby said in the book, if you read the book, wild. It is wild, crazy information that makes you sick to your stomach. Hasn't been sued. Why? It's probably all true. Otherwise, he'd be sued.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we even talking about here?
Don't know if you caught it, but he put pandemic in quotes, which in my view is a sign he still goes on these shows and gives those signs that he does not believe in its authenticity. It's flat out madness.
Again, there's a group of people that don't want you to have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Right. They don't want you to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Wealthy, not just, I'm talking about monetary sense, but just like a love of life and community and all the things that we've talked about today. And at the same time, there's a lot of people A lot of people waking up.
There is, yeah. As I watch these clips of Rodgers over and over again, all I can think of is how I understand why he and his family have such an intensely strained relationship. He cannot help himself. It's a bummer. He's continually encouraged by folks like this. Before we get into it, if you can, please do become a channel member at youtube.com/TYT Sports. Click the join button. And or if you want to support the network as a whole, go to tyt.com/join. And my social media, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's get into this, all right? Because it's not like there weren't countless gems of an idiotic approach to society in this show, on this podcast. It seems Rodgers is desperate to get his lunacy out at anyone who will platform him and throw a microphone in their face. Here was another part, transcribed by the folks at AA. We need somebody who's willing to lay it all on the line, said Rodgers. That's what I love about RFK. Think about it. They killed his uncle. They killed his dad. We know the CIA was involved. I mean, they can't declassify it because it was so damning. We know the FBI was involved. J. Edgar Hoover hated the Kennedys. They hated them. Ellen Dulles was fired as the director of the CIA after he botched the Bay of Pigs and tried to get Operation Northwoods to happen to really start World War III and invade Cuba. He was fired. He was a blank Warren. He was on blank Warren Commission, as was Gerald Ford, who was the right-hand man of J. Edgar Hoover, who hated the Kennedys. We know they're involved. So Bobby loses his uncle, John F. Kennedy, and his father, RFK. His cousin, JFK Jr., dies in a plane crash when he was running against Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying that was a conspiracy, but it's kind of a weird coincidence. Bobby's in danger. He's putting himself on the line. Why? Because he blank believes in this country. No. He believes in the good in people. No. And he's willing to make a difference. That's somebody I can get behind, who's willing to lay it on the line, because that is, like I said earlier, the archetype of everything we love about Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Everything we love, I just list so many more. And he also mentions Chris Pratt's character, which is interesting. These people, they believe in something. Sometimes I can't even explain it. Explain this. Why did RFK Jr. put out anti-Semitic comments when it comes to Jewishness, Ashkenazi Jews to be exact, and the coronavirus? Why, Aaron, did RFK Jr. have an Alex Jones-style approach to trans people, saying there's stuff in the water that's turning people trans? Why? Why is he a guy, since you're so critical of how the NFL tested players in the beginning, which fine. And they wanted to separate the non-vaxxed from the vaxxed. Why haven't you gone as hard at RFK Jr. when he hosted fundraisers and parties via the reporting on the subject and demanded those in attendance show their vaccine cards? Well, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? I look at all these, and by the way, kudos to 702 Gaming for sending this to me. I told him I don't even know how much I can research this guy because it just crushes me with the heel turn he's taken. But shout out to him for referring this story. I just look at Aaron Rodgers and I think of someone who so badly wants to be taken seriously. Because unfortunately, there is a part of growing and evolving as a human being and even as an adult that's called humility. He doesn't have it. Instead of admitting that he may be wrong, he pivots to, well, I read a lot. Instead of saying, hey, maybe what I said on the Pat McAfee show was awful, he continues to attack falsehoods that did not happen. We covered it with Daniel Tosh when Rodgers was like, oh, the beaches were closed. They closed down everything. Tosh was like, you know what I did? I went on the beach, and so did a ton of other people. But I just look at a man who will never admit that he doesn't have the answers. And as Mina Kimes noted, when one were to look into the people that he cites, you know, the Brett Weinsteins, the Joe Rogans, and the books like Ayn Rand, it's a tell. It's a tell. He will cling and attach his name to anything that will support his conspiracies. That is what it comes down to at the end of the day. And as I stated previously in this piece, it does not shock me that so many people have a strained relationship with this man.